Hello, beloveds. This is Sophia Mona Lisa of the Golden Ray Center and the Rosewheel Mystery School. Welcome back to another really incredible video journal. Today is Monday, July 22nd. And so that means that today is Mary Magdalene's feast day. How exciting. What I love about the story of Mary Magdalene, and whom I'm going to refer to as the risen Christ. So in her day-to-day life, Mary Magdalene and Yeshua were husband and wife. They were conscious equal partners in the ministry. And then, of course, Yeshua goes through this incredible death experience. And when he is resurrected as Christ. Now, any image that you see, or most, I won't say any, most images that you will see about that mystical encounter where Mary Magdalene is in the garden near the tomb and she encounters the risen Christ, are going to have two things, very likely, most often, okay? She is going to be in a crimson colored rose. He is going to be in a white colored robe. And we'll get to the crimson colored rose in a minute, but let's just talk to the white colored robe, which lets us know that we're looking at a depiction of the risen Christ. And so just white in terms of the symbolism here, right away we can know that that white is referring to the light that is within us, our own divine light. Secondly, of course, white has to do with purification. So the I am statement, I am holy, pure, and perfect, absolutely is an I am statement that is centered around, whoops, sorry, hold on. The cat's knocked something over. Just a second. Okay, so the I am statement, the very powerful, potent I am statement that I had referenced, I am holy, pure, and perfect, is absolutely an I am statement that invokes your own inner Christ so that your inner Christ can be arisen as we see the Christ here in this depiction, that purity, that perfection of the risen Christ. So these are other symbols that the white of the robe is representing. Now, in this particular scene where Mary Magdalene sees the risen Christ, it has been reported that the risen Christ says to Mary Magdalene, Noli me or me tangere. I'm not a Latin scholar, so noli me tangere. Of course, this is a Latin version of what was originally documented. And so we want to always try to go back to the original language to find out if there have been any intentional or unintentional mistranslations. In Latin, this phrase, which is mentioned in the verse John chapter 20:17, it is documented here that this was the phrase that the risen Christ, Yeshua, spoke to Mary Magdalene when she recognized him after his resurrection. Now, from the Latin, this phrase has been translated as "don't touch me." And of course, we know the phrase in itself is an exoteric expression, and the translation, "Don't touch me," has been really kind of latched onto by the egoic mind in terms of the exoteric, and story upon story has been created about why it would be that Yeshua would tell Mary Magdalene not to touch him. And I find this a little fascinating just from my own perspective, because here we see, even in the scriptures, they haven't decided yet. Is Jesus human or is he divine? And so they're kind of like walking both sides, straddling both sides of that. Why would he say to her, "Don't touch me"? But if we go back to this phrase, before it was translated into Latin, what we find out is that the Greek phrase actually gets translated as "cease holding on to me" or "stop clinging to me." Now, again, that's an exoteric expression, but we know in this very dynamic relationship between Mary Magdalene and her husband Yeshua, and now between Mary Magdalene and the guru, the risen Christ, that there is absolutely, the first thing you should be looking for is, what is the esoteric meaning? What is the deeper hidden meaning behind this seemingly, common phrase? And what we know, of course, is that already before she has the vision of Christ within her own heart, where she receives from the Christ within the sacred teachings that become known as the Gospel of Mary, she is already being taught by the risen Christ, the manifested risen Christ. Don't look to me, this physical form. Look to me in the inner realm, right? What does the guru do? I talked about this in my most recent video yesterday for Guru Purnima. Takes you from the form to the formless, takes you from the outer manifestation to the inner expression, right? From the exoteric to the esoteric. So already the moment that the risen Christ is made manifest, and she is the first witness of the risen Christ, he's already teaching her the mystery that this is not about the external manifestation. Do not attach yourself to this form. Go within to the Holy of Holies, where you will find me, where we are one, where the Christ is within you. So I love this. Now, let's get back to this whole idea that most of the images around this particular event, as I said, documented in the book of John, chapter 20, you will see Mary Magdalene in a crimson rose. Now, many depictions of the Magdalene have her in a crimson rose. This is highly significant because, again, the crimson red robe, I think I might have said rose before. Sometimes, with being an aspie, sometimes I am thinking a word, but a different word comes out. So I might have said crimson rose, but I meant crimson red robe. Okay. So just as I talked about the significance of the white robe that the risen Christ is depicted in these images where he is appearing to her in the garden near the tomb, The crimson red robe also has an esoteric meaning, a deeper spiritual meaning. Now, of course, the powers that be, right, at Constantinople, the Council of Nicaea, decided to kind of interfere here and make it a scarlet red robe. So you will see depictions of her in a scarlet red robe. Please know that those depictions are not true, authentic depictions. They have a frequency of misinformation at best, deception at worst within them because of the scarlet red robe. And so long before Nathaniel Hawthorne wrote the novel, The Scarlet Letter, the color of scarlet red was already known to be a color that symbolized somebody that had, to put it nicely, fallen from grace. The powers that be went so far as to then label her a prostitute. And of course, we know that that was a huge effort on their part to discredit the role of Mary Magdalene and the power of Mary Magdalene, because just like Yeshua is an embodiment of Christ hyphen Sophia, Mary Magdalene too is an embodiment of Sophia hyphen Christ. Okay, Sophia Christ, they are both as beloveds embodiments of the Sophia Christ. And so this was an attempt, as I said, to discredit and to disempower this truth. So why am I making such a big deal about crimson red and scarlet red? Okay, and I just want to dig a little deeper here. This is just kind of how my mind works. So if we look at crimson red, we see that its undertone is blue. If we look at scarlet red, we see that its undertone is yellow. Once again, going back to the symbolism behind the colors. Blue has to do with spirituality, intuition, inspiration, and inner peace. Yellow in the shadow, and I know a lot of people say, oh, yellow's happy, joyful. Yellow in the shadow is all about the intellect, right? Because spirituality is based in the heart, so it's about the intellect. But more than that, it's about caution and cowardice. And so you can see how the colors were being used to transmit messages, and colors have frequency because colors are a part of the white light, right? When the white light goes through the prism and it gets dispersed into the spectrum of colors, all of the colors are a part of the white light, but they're trying to hide the truth about the light from you. So that's the significance of Mary Magdalene being seen in the crimson red robe. And it goes back even further. Now, you know that I am working with the Venus Synodic Cycle as a part of the Galactic New Earth project that Sophia asked me to initiate in January of 2022. And that Galactic New Earth project is absolutely aligned to the 19-month cycle of the Venus Synodic Cycle. And you've heard me mention that in the past, that 19-month journey has been aligned with the myth of Inanna as a template. Well, there's a deeper reason. Remember the exoteric and the esoteric. And that's because if you go back to Inanna, she was around like 4,500 BC. So we're talking, okay, at least 6,500 years ago. That's how many millennia? 6.5 millennia. Inanna also wore what was known as the crimson robe of office because she was the high priestess. Mary Magdalene was trained in the Isis mystery schools, which came from the Isis mystery schools in Egypt, which came from the Inanna mystery schools in Sumeria. Okay, all of this lineage is connected. But the thing about the crimson robe is that it was the crimson robe of truth. Truth. And so not only does it go back 60,500 years to Inanna being the high priestess wearing the crimson robe of truth, of which Mary Magdalene is in that lineage, but it also has another significance. It's the significance of what's known as sangre real in French. Sangre real means holy bloodline. The holy bloodline that she and Yeshua and John the Baptist carried, and that carries through their descendants. And so there's many, 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 many layers of this. But getting back to the significance of the crimson red that Mary Magdalene wears as a robe, tying back to what Inanna was wearing as a high priestess robe, it brings us back to this Venus synodic cycle, because Venus makes the sign of the rose every 8 years. Every 19 months, she moves from one point or one petal of the rose to another, making at the center of the rose the 5-pointed star known as the pentagram. The pentagram is the most ancient symbol for the sacred feminine. And the rose, the image that Venus makes in the sky after going through all of those petals, and it takes her 8 years to create that rose in the sky, is another symbol of the sacred feminine. And so you will oftentimes see associated with Mary Magdalene the rose, the crimson red rose, and also related to the sacred feminine, the 5-pointed star. In fact, there is a Venus landscape temple in the south of France that is built through different landscape, different, what is the word I want to use? Not projections, but different natural formations in the landscape that precisely create a 5-pointed star. And it's on one of those points that the Rennes Chateau church dedicated to Mary Magdalene is located. So I love that today is the Mary Magdalene feast day. She has been working with me in my life for a long, long time. It all kind of culminated when she called me to southern France in 2019 to the Cathar region. She called my soul sister Winsong to the Cathar region at the same time, and we were reunited by Mary Magdalene. We were roommates on that Magdalene journey, and things just absolutely became transformed within me, within my work, from that journey with her. And she continues to work with me and with Winsong in very interesting and mysterious ways. So let's get back to the fact that today is the Mary Magdalene feast day, and this is highly significant. I've already mentioned the Gospel of Mary, and in the Gospel of Mary, there is this quote in chapter 6, verses 1 through 3. Peter said to Mary, "Sister, we know that the Savior loved you more than all other women. Tell us the words of the Savior that you remember, the things which you know that we don't because we haven't heard them." And Mary responded to Peter, "I will teach you about what is hidden from you." And of course, this is her introduction to the mystical teachings that she is going to share with Peter and the other apostles around the truth that we are fully human, fully divine beings, that within the Holy of Holies, we have our own Christ, where we are one with the Christ and can commune with the Christ, that which the Savior is an embodiment of. And so, very recently, it used to be July 22nd was like a memorial of Mary Magdalene, but very recently, and I just wrote some notes down here to reference. And when I say recently, I mean 2016. Okay, so we're talking 8 years ago, a whole Venus cycle, Venus return. 8 years ago, which isn't very long, considering that there's been this 6,500-year history that we know of. 8 years ago, the Catholic Pope, Pope Francis, raised the status in the Catholic Church of the memorial to Mary Magdalene to that of being a feast day. And the reason or that he gave for, or the justification that Pope Francis gave for making this shift in from just a memorial to a full-on celebrated feast day is because he was acknowledging for the first time in the Catholic Church history the role of Mary Magdalene as, first of all, not only as being, the first witness to the risen Christ, but more importantly, for being the apostle. Now it says in this image, to the apostles, but from what I've read, Pope Francis declared her the apostle of the apostles. And so be very careful here, as I said before, in terms of translations. Apostle to the apostles and apostle of the apostles, very, very subtle difference in frequencies, but absolutely apostle of the apostles is much more powerful and potent than apostle to the apostles. And so that is how Mary Magdalene's memorial on July 22nd actually became a full-blown feast day. Now, why is it being identified as the apostle to the apostles or the apostle of the apostles? Because we see here in the Gospel of Mary Magdalene that the risen Christ that is within Mary Magdalene is giving her these sacred teachings, which she is then teaching to the apostles, teachings that were not given when Yeshua was in his human body walking the earth. And it's actually these sacred teachings that caused the split between Mary Magdalene and Peter. He's like, nobody's going to believe this. I'm not risking my reputation. And so I'm just going to keep teaching the old stuff, right? And so he goes off and, of course, was the first pope of the Catholic Church. So you see, Mary Magdalene then fled Egypt and went to southern France, landed on the shores of Saint Marie de la Mer, where she began her ministry, teaching what she had been taught by the risen Christ. So I mentioned to you before that I attended a workshop called Mary Magdalene Revealed, done by Megan Watterson. This is an oracle that she created that goes along with her book, Mary Magdalene Revealed. And surprise, surprise, of course she has a Mary Magdalene card within her oracle. So I drew this card today specifically because it's the Mary Magdalene feast day, because as I mentioned to you before, each of these cards in the oracle have a soul voice meditation associated with them. Okay, so I'll get to that in a minute. But I just want to bring you back to the fact that, working with the gospel of Mary Magdalene, working with the Venus synodic cycle that, ties us all the way through the lineage of Mary Magdalene, Isis, and Inanna forward. Doing this work, as I said in my video from yesterday on Guru Purnima, doing this work with the Magdalene and our inner guru allows us to create the space within us so that we can hold the space for the mystery that is that inner Sophia Christ, that inner pure light and pure love. And of course, here's the rose that Venus makes in the sky every 8 years, a part of that mystery. And you'll see here at the center of the rose, the 5-pointed pentagram, the most ancient symbol of this mystery that is directly tied to the sacred feminine. Okay, getting back to this Mary Magdalene card from the Mary Magdalene Oracle that Megan Watterson has put together. The soul voice meditation question is, where has my love not yet reached? This is really important because you'll see on her card that she has written on her card, love only ever expands. It's a continual expansion. So she talks about in her Mary Magdalene Revealed book that is written about the Gospel of Mary, that, Christ is giving her these ascension teachings, and that essentially that the ascent journey is a journey of going deeper and deeper and deeper within what people call the inner temple. I call the cave of initiation, which leads to the Holy of Holies, the Christ heart. And so the deeper and deeper and deeper that you go within to the Christ heart, the higher and higher and higher your frequencies ascend. And it's one of those paradoxes of the mystery, right? That you have to go deep within to ascend, because the mind immediately goes to ascension as being going up, 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 like going up a ladder or going up in an elevator. Okay, so be very mindful of not only the esoteric meanings as I've been speaking to recently, but also the paradoxes that are there, because this is a sacred wisdom, and a lot of people aren't ready to receive the sacred wisdom because they will use it and they will pervert it. And we have seen this throughout history, even the whole thing about the crimson red rose robe becoming, a scarlet red to paint Mary Magdalene as a prostitute. This is how subtle it is in terms of disinformation to disempower people. Okay. So I myself actually have done this soul voice meditation today, asking, where has my love not yet reached, right? So it's expanding, expanding, expanding. And I received a message that really took me by surprise, because the word that I heard in response to this message was the word kindness. And it kind of jolted my egoic self, and then it confused my egoic self. And then I got the download, the gnosis, telling me that I am kinder to the animals that I engage with, my own pets, Dolce Lucia, Romeo, Gherkin, Luca, and the horses at the ranch, that I am kinder to the animals, and all animals really, than I am to myself. And then I heard Corinthians, and I heard from Corinthians, love is patient, love is kind. And then I heard that the love needs to expand deeper into the darkness, right? My own darkness, my own shadow self, to bring the love that is patient and is kind into those places within me where I am not patient, where I am impatient, which is why they've become shadow pieces, where I am not kind, where maybe I have rejected them, again, creating that shadow piece. So this was a huge message to receive today that I absolutely did not anticipate. And so because it is the Mary Magdalene feast day, I'm inviting you to really engage her on a personal level today, whether you want to do it through this particular soul voice meditation that is a part of this Mary Magdalene card of the Mary Magdalene Oracle. That's an easy way to do. It doesn't cost you anything. All you have to do is drop in to your Christ heart. I've explained how to do that. I've given you the teaching around that, and ask for yourself, where has my love not yet reached? That's one way that you can engage with the Magdalene today. Another way that you can engage with the Magdalene today is through this book, Mary Magdalene Revealed, which goes into great discussion around the teachings in the Gospel of Mary. Megan Watterson is a graduate of Harvard Divinity School. She is a feminine theologian, and her insights are very, very valuable. And there is this Latin phrase, cor ad cor loquitur, which means heart speaks to heart directly. And that's what's happening within the Holy of Holies. That's how the risen Christ that she knew as Yeshua, who said, cease clinging to the form, right? Now put your awareness on the formless. That's how they were able to communicate, so that he could give her the sacred wisdom teachings that are in the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. So even just reading this book, Mary Magdalene Revealed, is another way beyond the soul voice meditation that you can connect with her heart to heart. Let her speak to you as an inner guru, as that representative of Sophia, the daughter aspect of Sophia specifically, to teach you, speak to you. What is it that you are ready to hear today from her? So I want to thank you for sticking with me through through this video journal in honor of Mary Magdalene. And I'll just say these very, very powerful I am statements. And just like I talked about in my video yesterday on Guru Purnima and spiritual discipline and spiritual practices, let me remind you here, these I am statements that I'm sharing with you, they are only potent and transformative when you infuse them with love, when you can feel the presence of that love that you are within you and speak them from that space. And so from that space deep within me, I share with you, I am one with Mary Magdalene, the embodiment of Sophia-Christ. I am the presence of Sophia-Christ in action within me. So this is a third way in which you can engage with Mary Magdalene today on her feast day to help you empower yourself and to receive whatever transformative wisdom that you're ready to receive from her today. Again, thank you very much for sticking with me. I appreciate it. I would love it if you would give this video a thumbs up. And so I'm going to kind of go into a little story here about the thumbs up that I just learned myself the other day. I watched a woman's YouTube channel. She lives in Tuscany, and I love her channel. And she was telling her viewers how, you know, she was making some delicious Italian dessert, and she had asked in the video, please give this video a thumbs up. It makes a difference. Well, turns out that she got like 100 likes on the video, which then resulted in that video getting like 10,000 views. This is the power of clicking on the thumbs up. Now, I'm not out here for the numbers, okay? Let's just make that clear. And I would love for this work to get out to more people so that hopefully they will be awakened and start this inner journey to their own divine light and love because of something maybe that they heard in something I've shared. And so normally I'll get, you know, less than a handful of thumbs ups on my videos. The average viewership is somewhere around 40, although I did have a recent video that got almost 200 views. And I'm thinking, what was it about that video that caught people's attention? But if everybody that watches the video would just take the 3 seconds that it takes to click on the thumbs up for the video, kind of like as an acknowledgement, I've watched this. The power of that pushes it out so that more and more people can see the content. And it's exponential. I was blown away when she said she got 100 thumbs up. We call them likes, right? 100 likes that resulted in 10,000 views. I mean, that is an exponential push out into the consciousness of humanity. So, if only 40 people watch it, great. But if all 40 would click the thumbs up, think about what the viewership might be. It might be 400. Please, let's harness this power that's built into this platform. So I appreciate that if you will do that. And if my work has any meaning for you whatsoever, and you'd like to support my work, I invite you to buy me a coffee. This is the link down here. It'll be in the description box below. So until the next time, thank you so much. I am sending my love to you, heart to heart. That's a direct connection. Bye-bye. Take care.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.